She is a 6-diamond designer. She's completed all levels, of course, of the crown jewels at least one time, if not 3. And she was the number 3 top sponsor regionally in her area in 2011. Then she was the number 1 top sponsor, not only regionally, but also nationally in 2012. She was the number 1 regional top sponsor 2 in 2014, and she was number 2 this past year in 2015. She received something really special from Premier Designs in 2014 known as the Vision Award. That is a very special award. She loves Premier because she's able to help other women discover the God-given potential, and help them make their dreams come true and their realities, that Premier is the best resources that she has in order to do that through people. So that is a blessing, and she has such a servant's heart. What a privilege and an honor it is to have her here. So let's welcome Laurie Re.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm excited to be here, you guys. Thank you for having me. I'm just thrilled to be able, I'm going to move this out of the way or else it's going to, won't be able to look at you guys. Okay. But one of my favorite things of coming to different areas and chatting with jewelers is really giving them some little tips and tricks of how to have an awesome business, because we have the biggest blessing in Premier that what we learn and what we put into our business, we can then go out and find other women that need exactly what we have to offer. So my prayer for you guys tonight and my hope is that you guys can just take one thing away that you can put into your business, but then ultimately go out and bless somebody else with. We'll be covering a lot of things tonight. I'm a very fast talker, so if I start to talk too fast, just give me like a little slow down. But we're going to cover a lot tonight. We'll be covering things about time management and calendar control, how to get bookings outside and inside your home show, but just some different ways of getting some bookings on your calendar. We'll take a few breaks, but we'll just have a great time today, okay? All right. My biggest fear is talking in front of people, so the more that you guys engage, the longer I'll be able to be up here for. So one of the main characteristics of a successful business is consistency. You guys have probably heard it before, and for the new jewelers in the room, welcome, and know that consistency in your business will be your best friend, because when you have consistency, pretty much anything that you want in this business in terms of your goals will be able to happen, but it starts with the consistency. Bookings are a necessity. We are in the jewelry show business, if you don't already know that. So without those bookings, consistency is going to be very hard. So we're going to go through some things that will either help you become more consistent, or if you already are consistent, will help to keep that going. If you're here today, and I know we have some new jewelers, but we also have some seasoned jewelers. And if you're here as a seasoned jeweler with a calendar or a business that you're not overly excited about, that's okay. I applaud you for being here tonight, and if someone had to drag you here tonight, turn to them and thank them, because that is a huge, huge thing when you're feeling down in your business or feeling unmotivated, that you should be at training. Like, it really is one of the best places to be. So you are in the right place if you are feeling demotivated by your business right now, and it's okay, because everyone in this room has either had that feeling, or when you're in Premier long enough, you will have that feeling, and it's okay, and it's normal, but you have to learn how to get out of it. The only time that you fail is when you quit. So because you're here, you're not quitting, and that makes you not a failure. So don't give yourself that thing in your head, and we'll talk about that a little later, because what you tell yourself is what is going to have happen. So when you tell yourself that you're a failure, that's exactly what's going to happen. But you are here tonight because you're not a failure. You guys have a dream, you have a goal, and you guys can totally make that happen, and you've already done the hard part of attending and just being present. So we're going to talk about some ideas to fill your calendar, but before we do that, I need you guys, if you don't already have a sheet of paper out, grab a sheet of paper out, and on that paper, I want you to jot down just a couple of words of why you're in Premier. It doesn't have to be a whole paragraph or anything like that, but just a couple words to get yourself thinking about your personal goal. On that same sheet, I want you to write down Obviously, that's your big purpose, how you got started in Premier, but then write down a goal of how many shows or how much money for income that you need to make on a weekly basis and on a monthly basis. I'll give you just a quick second to do that. Now, the reason why I had you guys do this is, number one, you need to know what your goals are. It is so important to know what your goals are, because if you don't know what your goals are, you have nowhere to start planning from. You have to know where to begin, or else you're going to end up somewhere else, and typically that somewhere else is not anywhere that we want to be. So it starts with what your goal is. Second, I wanted you guys to concentrate on what your goal is. You don't need to look over at the other person next to you and see what their goals are. You need to concentrate on what your goals are. Because if you look around, you might see someone that wants to have 12 shows a month, and you might only want to have 3 shows a month. You can't look at that other person and say, well, I'm not good at this business, or I'm not as good as her because she wants 12 shows. That's okay, that's her goal. That's not your goal. If your goal is 3 shows and you do 3 shows, you're awesome, you're successful, and you are fulfilling your purpose in Premier. If she needs to have 12 shows and she's doing her 12 shows, we're going to applaud and congratulate her. But a lot of times we see people comparing themselves to other people. Comparison is the thief of joy. You will not be joyful in this business, you will not be excited about your business if you are constantly comparing yourself to other people. Everybody is walking their own journey in this business, and we have to applaud them and congratulate them as they reach different levels, and we want them to do that for you. People, I know last month we had an incredible month in Premier. We had one of the best months in 30 years in Premier's history. Not everybody had an incredible month. And a lot of times we'll see all these things happening. Facebook land kind of just opens up that a little bit more now. But you'll see a ton of great things happening, sometimes for other people. That's okay. You still congratulate them, you applaud them, and know if you're working on your goal, you're as awesome as they are. You just haven't promoted or seen that name in lights yet, but you will. But you have to stick with it. Don't compare yourself to other people, because you have to know in your heart why God has put you in this business. We were all put in this business for a very specific reason. And if you don't know what your reason is yet, stick around, because you will find out. But other people might be figuring their things out too, and we don't ever want to compare our journey with their journey, because it's just not fair to you or for them. So make sure that you are always focused on your goals and not comparing yourself to anybody else. When you look at your goals, a lot of times we have these really big goals, and then we allow our goals, or sometimes what we're doing in Premier, to get us completely off balance, right? A lot of times we'll feel like we're not giving 100% of our attention or our time to anything that we're doing, because we feel like we're running in circles. We'll pile tons of stuff onto our plates with Premier and our family and our jobs if you guys work outside of Premier. We'll have our kids involved in 10,000 activities, and we feel like we're constantly trying to multitask. There's no such thing as multitasking. Try your best not to feel that way, because really then we feel like we're not getting anything done. Can anybody relate to that feeling of just like feeling like you're trying to like spinning your wheels but not going anywhere very fast? Thinking if you're going to spend your time getting everything done is an illusion that people tell you that you can multitask. You can't do it. You cannot multitask. The happiest people are not the ones that don't have a care in the world, so it's not that you have to get all of that stuff off your plate, but those people that don't have anything on their plate are just going to be bored. We don't want to be bored, but we also don't want to feel like we're spinning our wheels going nowhere. Research shows that the happiest people are busy, but they're not rushed. We reduce our anxiety by taking control, and that is what having that work-life balance that a lot of people talk about is, just having control. You want to be in control of your time. You have to be able to draw that line though. You have to decide what's important and what isn't important. And the way that you do that is throughout the day, sometimes more often than I want to be asking myself this, but you have to be asking yourself multiple times a day, what's the most important thing for me to be doing right now? okay? So write that down so you guys can ask yourself, what's the most important thing for me to be doing right now? The main problem we have is that we try to do everything and treat everything as important or as the same level of importance. And you can't do it all, and everything is not equally important. So after you figure out what your goal is, then you can start prioritizing your time. Prioritizing your time is essential to making sure that you cannot feel like you're constantly just spinning your wheels. You want to be very intentionally focused on what you're spending your time on, because then you're going to start to see that goal in more of a reachable format. Everybody, always, we all have the same amount of time in our day. Unfortunately, we cannot buy more time, we can't get more time, we can't borrow more time. You all have 24 hours, it's just a matter of what you're going to choose to do with that time. You also have to figure out what your priorities are. We all have our goal in Premier, but we have a life outside of Premier, and you have to remember that. You have to figure out what your personal priorities are. In Premier, they always say, have God first, family second, career third. If that's your personal priority, make sure your time in your calendar reflects that priority. For the new jewelers in the room and for the seasoned ones, but for the new ones, as you're coming into Premier, there's a lot of things that you can be spending your time on. This is your business, this is your own business. When you're a CEO of your business, there's constantly something that you can be doing for your business. But you do not want this to take over your life and have your family or yourself resent this business. I have been there. I'm a walking advertisement for you. Do not want that to happen. But I'm on the other side of it now, so now I can tell you what not to do. Do not allow this to overtake your life. This has to fit in with your life. It has to fit in with your family, because your family has to love this business just as much as you do, because it's a family business. This is not just you are in it, you are bringing your family along with you. So when you look at your calendar, you have to make sure that your priorities go on your calendar in the order that they are the priority. So if God is first, do you have your study time every day? Do you have time on Sundays just to go to church and be with your church family? Do you have a small group? Do you have that built into your calendar? If you don't, when you look at your calendar for the next few weeks, put those things first, because that's going to reflect what your priorities are. If you have a husband, or if you have a significant other or children, if they have things coming up that you have promised to be at, have that stuff on your calendar, because then you're showing them that they're the priority. Now, I'm not going to allow you to have the excuse, though, that I've got small kids. My small kids are in sports. Sports take over our life, but that doesn't give me the excuse of not working my business. I can't say, well, you know, Colin's got practice Wednesday night and Friday night, and we've got games on Saturday, and I've got trainings on Monday, so really that only leaves me Tuesday and maybe Thursday, but I have to spend time with my husband, so I've got no time to work my business. I can't do that. You can't do that either, else you're not going to have a business. However, I need to make sure that the games that he wants me at are on my calendar. Do I need to make every practice? No, I can't make every practice. But if he wants me at a certain practice, and if he wants me at every single game, those are going to go on my calendar before my shows go on my calendar, because he is my priority. That's why I got started in Premier. So you have to ask yourself, what's your priority, and is your calendar reflecting that? Because you will love your business a lot more if everything is lined up with your priorities. Next priority is training. Training is huge. Training will make you more money than any show out there. So trainings are essential. I always have all my jewelers write the trainings in pen. Don't put them in pencil like we do our shows, because those aren't going to move around. Your training dates are in pen, because these will give you the tips, the ideas, the camaraderie to get you over those humps and give you the experience and the things necessary to have a successful business. And then your shows go in, okay? That, just make sure that your calendar is reflecting your priorities, because it will make a really, really big difference in how you look at your business. One of the best things that having the priorities in line allows you to live in the moment. Because if your calendar has what you want to be doing on there, like right now I've kind of switched over to using a daily calendar. So I have my month at a glance, but then I have each day, because we only have 24 hours, you have to be very intentional with your time. So I have my day calendar broken out by the hour. When you know and you write in what you're going to be doing hour by hour, you will be incredibly surprised by how much free time you have. Because a lot of times we're wasting a chunk of our day. But if you can write in what time you're doing your Bible study and what time I'm going to be talking to my jewelers or whatever else you have in your day, if you're working, obviously you're blocking out your work day. But when you can block those things out specifically and give your time intentionally, you will be shocked at how many free spots you're going to have throughout your week that now you can do all the things that excite you. You can have more time with your kids. You can have more time with your spouse without feeling like you're constantly running because you're being intentional. When we're not intentional, then we start to waste time. When you waste time, that's when you feel like you have to catch up and multitask to get it all done. And we don't ever get it done, and we never feel like we're good enough moms, good enough workers, good enough spouses, and then it's just sad. So try to really get very intentional with how you're spending your time because you'll be much more fulfilled that way. You can also live in the moment at that point too, because I know like before when I was dealing with all the craziness I don't want you guys to deal with, is when I was with my kids, I was also checking my text messages or checking my emails or answering the phone, and my kids were then, I didn't have to say it, but to them it looked like they were coming second. Because if we are with our kids, be with your kids. If you're with your husband, be with your husband. If you are with your jewelers, then you be with your jewelers, and your family knows that they have to be the priority right now. But you have to give your time specifically to what you are focused on right then and there, because if you're trying to give time to your kids and time to the phone, you're not giving your time to either one of those people, so you're just wasting your time, okay? Don't do what I did. One of the other things that you want to schedule into your day are time for problems. It might sound very pessimistic, but when you can schedule a little chunk of your day, usually I'll give myself like a half hour to 45 minutes, and I'll literally write problems in my schedule. Because there's always something that comes up during the day that there's like fires that you have to put out, whether that's with the kids or sometimes with the jeweler, sometimes with family, you never know what's going on. But if I can schedule problems into my calendar, then I know, okay, if something happens, I don't have to kind of spin my wheels. I know that that's already scheduled in. If no problems happen, I got some free time that I can sit and read a book because that's what I like to do. So if you schedule those in, you're just being optimistic about what your schedule is going to look like and not having to put out fires that you didn't plan for already. The other thing that I really want to talk to you guys about is balancing between, is it necessary or is it nice? Because there's a really big difference between what's necessary for me to do and what's nice for me to do. Oftentimes we choose the things we want to do over the things that we need to do. If you get really good at doing the necessary things in a timely manner, then you'll have more time to do the things that you enjoy to do. And sometimes the nice or the necessary things are things we enjoy, but usually times they're not. But planning is the key. So things in your business, things like making your phone calls to your hostesses, making contacts to new people. We always say if you can make 5 contacts every day, you will have no problem filling your calendar. Those are usually not the nice things that we want to do because a lot of times we feel like that phone weighs like 1,000 pounds, but they're necessary to do. So if you can get the necessary things out of the way first, then you have a lot more time for the nice things. Contacts daily, anything that's dealing with a live person, that stuff will build your business. And we're going to go through some things that will either build your business, maintain your business, or just waste your time. And I'll give a sheet too to Valerie if she wants to post that to wherever you guys get your documents from. But it's really important to know what things are business builders versus business maintenance and things that are wasting your time. And knowing these things up front, then you can allow yourself to really figure out where your time is being spent. When we look at things that are going to build your business, these always deal with a live person. So whether that is your home shows, live people are at your home shows, if you're dealing and talking to your upline or your downline or a sideline, if you're calling people for new contacts, And this is all on the sheet too, so I'm gonna talk kind of fast through these, but anything that deals with a live person is typically a safe thing to assume is going to build your business. Things that are maintenance items, these are incredibly important in your business, but you don't wanna start. So things like organizing your office, or re-stuffing hostess packets, or curiosity packets. All of like the office kind of activities are maintenance. They're necessary, but they will not build any business. And a lot of times, we kind of get sucked into spending a lot of time on those things because they're relaxing. You can do it while you're watching TV, or you can do it while you're hanging out with other people, but it's not gonna build your business. So make sure the majority of your time is not spent on those, but about only 25% of your time is spent on the maintenance and 75% of your time on the building. Because that you want to see yourself growing in this business. And then we can look at the time wasters. Time wasters can be things like if we watch TV every night, get a DVR and take one night and just watch your shows. But you have to give up something in order to go up. You have to make sacrifices in the business. Other things that might waste your time, maybe you sleep in on the weekends when you could set your alarm a little bit earlier and get up a little bit and get some work done. Facebook. How many guys waste time on Facebook? Yep, I did too. I had to intentionally remove it from my phone for a season of my life because I was wasting so much time on Facebook that I could not have it at the push of my finger. So if you are like that too, you may have to remove it from your view for a while, because typically when we go on there real fast just to check something, it like sucks you in and you're there for like a half an hour. You don't even know where that half hour of your life just went, but it was doing nothing productive typically. Facebook is like the highlight reel. So you're seeing everybody's highlight reels and you're thinking, oh, she's phenomenal and she's fantastic. And what am I doing? Nothing's happening in my business, but she's got all this stuff going on. Then we go back to that comparison trap. Don't get into it. So if you have to remove yourself just to keep your mind healthy, do that because it will help you. I promise you. I had to remove myself and not even look at Facebook on a computer or my phone for a few months because every time I did, I started talking negatively to myself. If you have ever talked negatively to yourself because you were comparing what your truth is to what everybody's highlight reel is, remove yourself. It's not healthy, okay? But you have to figure out what your time waster is, and then once you know what your time waster is, make plans to stay away from it, because honestly, when we're all on the Facebook topic, Facebook will not build your business for you. It really doesn't. Many people before us in Premier have built amazingly successful businesses without using Facebook. Facebook is a tool, but it will not build your business. I think a lot of times women in Premier, we have an incredible business that is all about people. It's that personal touch. We cannot walk away from that. And there are different resources that we can use, and they're very, very important resources, and they can be helpful, but they are not business builders. They will not take over and build your business for you. And sometimes we compare our business with some other businesses that we're seeing out there now that are all social media driven. That's how they do their business. We don't. So please make sure that you're not just wasting your time there thinking that your business is just gonna blow up and take off because you're spending hours and hours and hours every day on Facebook, because you might just start getting really frustrated that the time that you're putting into Facebook is not showing you the results in your business. So if you have to remove yourself, do that. And I'm kind of lumping Facebook in with all the other social media avenues because there's like a bajillion out there now. I don't know them all, but just know Facebook kind of coincides with all of the other ones too. But just remove yourself if you need to from any of them. One of the other things too, though, that when we're talking about kind of feeling like you're spinning your wheels and not going anywhere, know that there's going to be seasons in your business. There's seasons in everything. There's seasons in life. There's seasons in this business. There's seasons with everything. And you have to be okay with the season that God has you in right now. In Ecclesiastes 3:1 that says there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Know that whatever season you're in, whether it's a growing season, maybe it's a season of just kind of being stagnant, there is okay seasons to be in, but the only time that you can't be okay with where you are is if you're not working through that season. You can never stop working this business no matter what season you've been put in, because he can't do anything with work that isn't being done. God can't bless something that you're not doing first. So you have to put the work in, and then he can bless that. But if you're not working, there's nothing for him to work with, okay? So make sure that you are okay going through the seasons. Have you guys heard about the Chinese bamboo? No? It's really, really incredible. Chinese bamboo, it's a tree. And the first year, every single day, first you plant the seed, obviously, but every single day you have to water it. And you're watering it every single day for that first year and nothing happens. The second year, you're watering it every single day and nothing happens. The third year, you're watering it every single day and guess what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. And then the fourth year, same thing. Nothing happens, but you're still watering it every single day. The fifth year, guess what happens to that seed? The bamboo tree goes from nothing to 90 feet in 6 weeks. In 6 weeks. So the question is, does that bamboo tree take 6 weeks to grow? Or did it take 5 years to grow? It took 5 years to grow. How many in our line of work, how many would all of us, we'd probably quit way before that tree grew because we're giving time every single day, nothing's happening. I know in our business, we've had it before, where month after month we would share with people. We would get them and we would talk to them about Premier and what a blessing would be in their life, month after month after month, and nothing would happen. And then all of a sudden that fourth month, we'd have 6 people come in. It doesn't mean that the 4 months that we were working before weren't worthwhile. It wasn't a waste of our time, but we saw the fruits of that labor months down the road. The same thing might be happening in your business. So if you're frustrated that you're doing what you should be doing and nothing's happening, that's okay. God's still working in the background. You just don't see what's happening. But you cannot stop, because if, with this Chinese bamboo tree, if they stopped watering 2 years down the road, on that 5th year, it still would not have grown because they had to keep watering it every single day for the time to come in that 5th year that it could grow 90 feet in 6 weeks. So know that what you're doing in your business has to keep happening, even if you don't see the results that you think you deserve or that you think should be happening for you because you see other people it happening for them. You don't know how long they've been watering their bamboo tree. You just might not have caught up. So you cannot compare yourself to what other people are doing or what other people are getting, because again, they're on a different journey than you are. Many times when we feel like stressed out or overwhelmed, or again, feeling like we're working without any results, first thing, don't give up. Promise yourself. Tell somebody else to make sure that you do not give up in this business, because again, that's the only time that you fail is when you give up. But the other question to ask is with that calendar, what have I been spending my time on? Make sure that you are giving your time to the things necessary in your business that are going to help you grow it a year down the road, to maybe 5 years down the road. We don't know what God's timing is for us, but ask yourself if you're doing the things necessary to do that. A lot of times when I feel like I'm just overwhelmed and not focused on the things that I need to, I'll take a week, and every single time that I'm doing something for my business, I'll write it down. Whether that's a phone call, whether that is on like sending out mails, or anything that has to do with Premier that I'm working on, I'll jot it down. At the end of the week, I'll look back and say, okay, what did I spend my time on? Every single time I've ever had to do this, I find that I'm spending my time on the things that are maintaining my business and not growing it. Because that's going to get you frustrated. If all of your time is being spent on the maintenance, you're going to feel like you're spinning your wheels. So just make sure that when you do feel that overwhelming sense of stress and anxiety, that you just go back and check yourself, okay, this is what I planned to do, but what did I actually do? Because that's really, really different between sometimes what we plan and what actually comes out. we're going to be going over later on today, and I'm going to give Valerie this checklist too, because this is something I keep in my calendar, and it goes through tasks that I could do daily, weekly, and monthly. Again, just as a check, because I want to make sure that I'm doing the things that are going to build my business. So I'll make sure she has that if that's helpful for anyone to kind of figure out what to be doing in your business. But know that whatever you do, make sure your goal is top and center, you know where you're going, and if you don't know how to get there, get with your upline to figure out the tasks needed to get there to build your business. Because you won't get more frustrated than trying to work towards something and you don't see any kind of progress happening. But make sure you keep that goal, keep your why so front and center that there's no question that makes you waver from that. The other thing too is that sometimes when we're doing these things, you have to get really good at saying no. Sometimes we have to say no to the good things in order to leave room and say yes for the best things. If you guys like to read, then one of the books I would highly encourage you to read is called The Best Yes. It is a phenomenal book. It's a quick read, but it really helps put things into perspective of having to say no sometimes to leave room for the better things. We're going to take a break there. We're going to do some recognition, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking about how to get some more jewelry shows on your calendar and ways to kind of branch out into different networking groups.
Thank you, Laurie. Great presentation. We're going to do some recognition. It's going to be a little different recognition. We have so much to recognize. The story of the...
You guys are incredible. Like, that's phenomenal. Like, incredible. I'm just blown away. Absolutely blown away. I don't even know what I'm going to say now. Can't follow that up. One of the things, too, that I am going to challenge each of you to do, because it's no fun to learn stuff and then not implement it, right? Yes? No? Yes? Okay. I'm going to give you guys what's called a high five challenge week, okay? And for new jewelers, for seasoned jewelers, it doesn't matter where you are in Premier, whether you're 1 day old or have been in for 25 years. You guys can all do this. And basically what it's going to do, and I'm going to get this sheet to you guys can put it on your Facebook groups or, again, however you get your information out. But it's going to be a 5-day business building activity list. So it's going to give you just a bunch of different ideas of activities that will build your business. And you're going to choose one every single day. Just one, not going to take a ton of time, but by doing these things and creating a habit for them, that's going to start to create the things that will build your business for you. And every time you do one of these, what I want you to do is if you have a family Facebook group, or even on your own personal page if you want to do it that way, just post on there, and then your family members, your teammates, your friends will give you virtual high fives for completing these tasks. Okay? And what I want you guys to see is just by doing very small things, day after day after day, you'll start to see the fruits of your labor. Okay? So that's going to be the High Five Challenge Week, and I'll make sure that sheet gets out to your leadership. All right, so we're going to move on over to creating some consistency in our calendar now. Now, how many of you girls have more jewelry shows on your calendar than you know what to do with? Wouldn't that be so nice though? How many of you guys would like to have a calendar that is full and consistent and never gives you any problems or issues? Me too. All right, we're going to spend about the next half hour kind of going through some things that you can do to create that kind of calendar system for you. A lot of people talk about the importance of consistency and the importance of creating that momentum. And as we dive into these different ideas, I want to throw out some numbers to you. And these are going to be for those that need to have more of a consistent business that's going to meet their needs that they aren't currently meeting right now. Now, if you're sitting here and you're already doing what you need to do, again, to meet that previous goal that you wrote down, then kind of tune me out for a second or jot down these notes for when your calendar isn't looking like you want it to look. But really, it's more of just having the consistency to meet the calendar that you personally need to have. Now, the easiest way to be consistent is holding at least 4 to 5 jewelry shows every month, or at least once a week. And the reason why I say that is because that helps to create the momentum. Premier ran that consistency challenge last year, and they had us do 5 shows every single month. They didn't arbitrarily just throw 5 out or pick 5 out of the hat because it sounded good. They know that by having us do 5 shows every month, that creates consistency. So 5 is kind of the magic number, but again, if 5 is not the number that you are personally shooting for, and you can fulfill your needs with 2 or 3, then you do that and do not feel bad about not having 5. But I just know that having 5 helps to create the momentum moving forward. Everything becomes easier when you can have that momentum. To explain why, I want you guys to visualize dominoes. And if I had some dominoes right up here, and I had just one here, say like one here and one here. If I were to knock this one down, what would it do to this one? Nothing. If I had 5 dominoes evenly spaced out across the board here, and I knocked one down, the next one would knock down, knocking the next one down, knocking the next one down, and that creates momentum, okay? Now if I have 5 dominoes, and those are the bookings I want to hold, then one pulls out, it may not create that momentum moving forward because one just canceled. If I have 7, because we always want to overbook by 2, if I've got 7 dominoes, no matter if 1, even 2 pulls out, I still have enough to create that momentum moving forward. That's what we want to get in our business, is having that momentum, because your show after show after show creates that momentum. You always want to overbook your calendar though by 2. So if your goal is 5, make sure you have 7, because we are dealing with people, and we know that people will cancel, people will postpone, and that's okay, it's part of the business, but you also have to be prepared for that in order to reach your personal goal. During a season, if you want to have faster growth, so when I wanted to leave my full-time job and just work this, I had to increase my show volume. Just because I needed to obviously make the income, but to grow faster, if you hold 8, 10, sometimes 12 shows a month, that's going to create a lot quicker of momentum. Those months are going to be busy, so you have to be very intentional about when you're putting that on your calendar. But if you want to have faster growth, then I would encourage like 8 to 10 shows per month. Momentum is always easier to keep moving after you get it started than to create it. So it's a lot better in your calendar if you can just create it now, and usually the best way to create it is to cluster book your calendar. So for all of you new jewelers, if you can cluster, and that's why they have that quick start 6, because if you can cluster those shows with a short period of time, that helps you create that momentum a lot faster in your business than if you just have one show and then wait a few weeks and have another one. It's really, really hard to catch up that way. You can book, if you can, like 2 to 3 shows in a row. So if you're needing your calendar to get some momentum in it, if you can get 2 or 3 shows and book them within literally like 24 to 48 hours, like do a double on a Saturday or like 1 Friday night, 2 on Saturday, that helps to get the bookings that you get from those shows a lot closer in your calendar too. So that helps to create that momentum. Again, you have to go in knowing that this short period of time you're going to be a lot busier than you may want to be, but it's also going to help your business long term. So really kind of put that time in up front so you can get the rewards out later on down the road. When you have a goal of how many shows that you need to hold per month, so whatever that goal was that you wrote down at the beginning of the night, if that's your goal that you need to hit, don't leave it up to chance and say, oh, well, you know, if I'm at my show and I get that many bookings, great. If I don't, then it wasn't meant to be. That's just an excuse and a cop-out. If you have that goal, then you don't stop working until you reach that goal, because again, you guys are the CEOs of your business. You can tell yourself when to work, you can tell yourself when not to work, but you have to also live with the consequences of when you tell yourself not to work. So make sure that if you've set a goal for yourself, work really, really diligently until that goal is on your calendar and set, because that will help to create that momentum so you're not always having to get on the phone and get more bookings or reach out to new people. If you can just keep that going, it's much, much easier, and then you can devote your time to the things like talking to people about the business or reaching out to other people. That's where the exciting parts of your business come in. Your desire, though, has to be bigger than your fear. So whatever it is that you are fearing about picking up the phone or getting maybe just a busy few weeks in, maybe it's scary to have to do that, but know that your goal or your purpose or your desire has got to be bigger than that fear, because if your fear is bigger, it's always going to win. If your purpose and your desire is bigger, it's going to squash that fear enough to let you step over it and get through it. I promise you, it may not be easy, but it will be worth it. And when you can fulfill that calendar and get to your goal, you're going to look back and say, okay, that time was worth it. And that's important because that gives you the confidence to set another goal and to reach that next goal. You were brought into Premier for a reason. Again, if you don't know what that reason is right now, you will figure it out. Please pray about it, but don't be the reason that you don't fulfill that purpose. Do not stand in your way, because you will have either the pain of regret or the pain of working. There's going to be a pain either way. You do not want the pain of regret, because that's a really, really hard pain to have to live with. So have the pain of discipline. I promise you, you'll be much more rewarded for it. You don't want to have the what ifs or anything like that. And a big area that will really help to create that consistency is to find different areas to generate leads. This is one thing, whether you're a brand new jeweler or again have been in for 25 years, we have to keep creating what we call a lead bank. I know as a new jeweler, I thought, okay, my friends and family will have my first set of shows, and they would just have people there that would naturally book, and I would just roll that way. That was partially true, but not fully true, because you do. You have your first set of people that are helping you get started, but you also need to be generating ideas outside of those lines of people of where your next shows are coming from, because that's going to help to fill your calendar a lot faster than just expecting those shows to take you further. So a few different ways that you can do that is you don't want to just leave it to those two, of friends and family or acquaintances and things like that, but we need to have the multiple sources. Things that you can have, we always have them do a brain dump, our new jewelers. A brain dump is basically just starting to write down literally every single person's name that comes to your mind. It does not mean that you're going to be calling every single one of those people. However, when you start to jot names down, that name is going to trigger you to think of somebody else's name. That name will help trigger another name. And maybe it's the fourth person that you write down, then that's the person you're actually going to call, but you had to lead up to that point. So do a brain dump and just list out every single person that comes to mind. You can go through your phone to get some memory jogs. You can go through your Facebook friend list and get some memory jogs that way. But really encourage your new jewelers, or if you are a new jeweler yourself, I encourage you to do a brain dump. And then figure out, okay, which 5 people am I going to reach out to today? You may get some people on the list, you're like, I don't even know their phone number, but their name just came to my head. That's okay. Keep them on the list, because at some point in time, you may remember how you can connect with them or something like that, but their name might lead you to the name of someone that might want to have a show or be a referral source or something like that, but you have to start with that list. Other areas that you can look towards, obviously, are people at your shows. Just because people at your shows may not book a show, that doesn't mean they should not be a name on your lead bank. Because these people, if you can keep good customer care contact with them, so check in with them once their jewelry comes in, make sure that they're loving everything, you can keep them up to date with specials, those people may turn into a show. A lot of people are called processors, meaning that they may not book right at your show, and that's okay. But it's also our job to keep in contact with those people, because they may turn into a show. But just have one list of people that you're constantly adding to for your lead bank, because it makes it a lot easier when you do need bookings to know exactly where to go and not feel like you're constantly always restarting to figure out who to call next. You just always have a list to go back to. The other people are the people that you're meeting out and about. I talked about it before when I was sharing my OP, and we have a product that we are the walking advertisement for. That's huge. Utilize it. If you are in Premier and you go out for the day shopping or to work or wherever, if you're able to wear our jewelry, I know some jobs like nursing and things like that, you can't wear the big gold pieces. I get it, but if you can, throw on the piece that's going to get the most attention. Because when you're out and about, women will notice that. We always do, whether it's a cute bag or cute shoes, cute jewelry, people will notice it, and you have a lead right there They're all over around us. So even if you feel like, oh, I've tapped into every person I know, you haven't, because you can just go to a new store. You can go to a new area that you've never shopped in before. And now you are in front of a totally new lead bank, but you just have to know what to do in order to get that, go from being just people at a store to being people on your list that you can contact and start to build that relationship with. The important part with that is obviously first wearing your jewelry, but then knowing what we call our 30-second commercial. What do you say when someone says, oh my goodness, I love that necklace, or those are a great pair of earrings, or I love your watch? It's not a natural conversation that you would just normally have, so it's something that you have to practice. Just like when we first got in, and for all you new jewelers, you'll be practicing your show. It's not a natural thing until you get it practiced. Same thing with your 30-second commercial. You have to figure out what you're going to say and just practice it, practice it, practice it until it comes off naturally. To be very honest, the first few times that someone says, I love your necklace, you're going to be like, what do I say? And you might even run away, and that's okay. It's all right. Because you're going to be like, oh, I just lost it. But then you know the next time it will get better, and the next time it will get easier. If you're an introvert, that might be the most terrifying thing that I'm even telling you, and you're like, you're nuts, I'm not going to talk to strangers. We were always grown up to talk, not to talk to strangers. I'm telling you to talk to strangers. So it's very weird, but if you're an introvert, make yourself get comfortable a little bit more every single time. So like, I'm a total introvert. The first few times I went to the store, I literally didn't even make eye contact with people. So the first couple times I just said, okay, I'm gonna make eye contact with people, and I did that. Then I went in maybe the next week and I started smiling at people. And I was like, okay, we're making progress. Then the next time I would just say, okay, I'm gonna compliment them. So I complimented someone on their bag or whatever, it was a genuine compliment. And then I would get a little bit further. And maybe like a month or two down the road, it took some time, but then I was striking up those conversations. It's okay to take those baby steps, but it's not okay to say, okay, I've got no bookings and I'm not gonna do anything about it. If my purpose and my goal is bigger than that fear, and it was, I wanted to stay home with my babies. That purpose was much, much bigger than my fear of talking to a stranger. So you just get step by step by step to get to where you need to be. So practice that 30-second commercial. So for me, if someone says, oh, I love that necklace, all I say is, thank you so much. It's for a line of jewelry I rock for called Premier. Have you ever heard of it? Most people in our area, it may be the same here, it may not, but most people still say, no, I've never heard of that. Say, you know, I would love to give you a gift card for you to check out our collection. Would that be okay? Would you ever say no to a gift card? I would never say no to a gift card. And I used to carry around gift cards in my wallet. And then I forgot to reorder them, and I forgot just to have them on me. So what I did is on Pic Collage, I designed a gift card. So now my gift card is in my phone, and I'll say, can I get your phone number? I'm going to text you over the gift card right now so I don't forget. And you can redeem that within the next 10 days, and it has it on there. So I just created one with my face on it. It has an expiration date. It doesn't really expire, but I want to create a sense of urgency. And it has a code that they have to use. We don't need the code, but it just makes it look official. Now the easy thing is that, so I give a $10 card. You can give whatever you want. There's no bad gift card amount because a gift card is just free money. So what I do is when I tell them I'd love to give you a gift card, would that be okay? They're like, yeah. So you know what, give me your phone number, I'll text it over to you right now. Because another thing that I was terrified of in the beginning was, how am I gonna get their information? Because I would just give them my card in the beginning, I'm like, here, contact me. They will never contact you. That thing is going to turn into where their gum is going, or they're gonna jot down a note and throw it away. Yeah, because I do that to other people and I feel terrible when I do it, but if it's the closest thing to me. So it's our job to follow up, okay? So it's an easy way of just saying, hey, give me your phone number. People don't think anything different because I'm texting them. Most people nowadays text, and it's just a really easy kind of conversation that's comfortable. If you already have a way that you are getting the contact information, do not do what I'm saying if what you're doing is working. But if you need another idea, that just might be one that you're comfortable with, okay? So try that out and see how that works. But the key is the follow-up. Just because I've given them a gift card and I think that's awesome that they've gotten free money from me, doesn't mean that they're actually gonna follow up with me. They might forget about it, They'll probably go home and be like, oh, that was nice of her to give me a gift card, but then life happens to them and they forget about it. It's my job, so they go now on my lead bank, and I know within 24 to 48 hours, I've got to contact them and say, hey, have you had a chance to check out the catalog? The necklace that you complimented me on is on page such and such. Because what that does is that gets them into our catalog. You want them, if you've gotten them a paper catalog or the online catalog, you want to show them where to go. Because if you just say, check it out, they may check it out, they may not check it out. But if you give them a specific page to go to or a couple of different pages to check out, then they have to actually go into the catalog. Once they're in, just like Facebook, they're gonna get sucked in and they're gonna look at the whole other catalog, okay? So you wanna suck them in the right way. But make sure you're following up, because the follow-up with anything in this business is the key part, and that's our job. The other things that you can look at too is the places that you already do business. Think about your hair salon, your nail salon, your insurance agent. If you've moved or if you have a real estate agent, those are fantastic people, because as they're selling their house, it's gonna come off the wrong way, I don't even know another way to say it, they're kind of selling themselves, okay? They have to be put together, they have to look professional, and you can help them do that. So think about your real estate agent. Your car dealership, if you've purchased a car recently, all of those people you're doing business with, you're giving your business to, you can just say, hey, could you do me a favor? I love your business or your help getting outside of my group of people, or kind of growing my business or expanding my business, and reach out to those people. If you've had the same hairstylist for years and years and years and years, and she has not done a show for you, and you've asked her, you need to divorce that hairstylist, and you need to find a new one. I'm sorry, you must love your hair. You can love your hair. Go back to her every so often, but these are people that you're giving business to. They should turn around and help you out too. We have to do these things for our business. Okay? We have to meet your people. Also think about your friends that might be in other direct sales companies. You guys can do like a show swap if you want. You guys can do you can find out from vendor fairs with those people. So think about people that are also in direct sales, because they know what we do. Look at maybe past jewelers. Maybe you've had jewelers on your team that for whatever reason, their season of premiere was done. They probably still love the jewelry, they probably still love you, and they might do a show for you. So think about those people, because you can bless them with some free stuff. Also look at people that you know in other towns, other states, other cities. We just started a new area, and the way that I did that is I knew someone from back in high school, hadn't talked to her in probably 15 years, and I saw her on Facebook one day. I said, hey, you know what? And I obviously private messaged her, so not going on her Facebook wall because I didn't have her phone number, or else I would have called her. But in a private message, I said, you know, I am really excited. I'm trying to expand my business to your area. Do you know of anybody that would want some free jewelry or need some extra income that you could introduce me to? And she said, free jewelry? I like free jewelry. And I went out there and did a show, and we've started building that area now. So you can always just reach out to people, even if they don't want to have a show, if you don't know that or not. You can just say, I'm really trying to expand my business in your area. Do you know someone? You're not saying them, because then they're going to feel like, don't contact me. Do you know anybody that would like free jewelry or that would have a need for some extra income? I can guarantee you that they know someone that would want free jewelry, and most of us know at least one person that needs extra income. And we didn't say anything about Premier. They know probably that you are in Premier, but you don't say anything about the jewelry. Just, do they want free jewelry? Do they have a need? And then you can start working your way that way, because that's a great way of building out into other areas. As you start making all of these lists of people and things like that, you may have hundreds of names on your list. I can't tell you the number of times that a jeweler will sit down and say, I've got no one to contact. And by the time we go through all of these things, they literally have over 100 names. It can get very overwhelming. Don't get overwhelmed. Be excited that you have such an entirely huge lead bank. Doesn't mean you have to contact them all today, but every single day as you're working your business, pick 4 or 5 that you can just reach out to. That's going to keep you consistently having people added to that bank, but also continue to add people. Even if you're sitting at 100 names, don't think that you're done and you've arrived and you'll never have to reach out to new people. Keep adding to that list, because then you're not going to ever catch yourself in a situation where you're like, oh, I've got no bookings on my calendar and I have no one to call, because that's end of business for us. We don't want our business to end that way. So you have to keep generating that new referral source. Everybody that you meet could either be the beginning of some kind of a relationship for your business. It could be the beginning of a customer, a hostess, a prospect, anything. So make sure that everybody you are coming in contact with, you're starting to build that relationship, because it all starts with the relationship. There are many ways to challenge either yourself or your team if you're needing those new bookings. I know a lot of people have probably heard of Kim Adams Booking Bootcamp. That's a great way to get some bookings on your calendar. If you haven't heard of it, it's Kim Adams Booking Bootcamp. It's on YouTube, so you can just YouTube Kim Adams Booking Bootcamp. But every time I've worked through that with a jeweler, not once has anybody never walked away with a show. So it's a really good way of just getting some bookings on the calendar quick. You can do a texting challenge. I've done like a dial for cash before. So we'll have a couple of jewelers come over and we'll all put like $5 in a pot. Whoever calls the most people gets the pot. It makes you really excited to pick up the phone. Or sometimes if I'm having a day where I'm like, I just don't want to pick up the phone, I'll give myself a goal by, okay, if I pick up the phone and call 5 people, I'll get this. Usually it's something related to chocolate. But you can give yourself whatever you want. If you want a new pair of shoes, up the ante and say, okay, if I make 50 phone calls, I can go get my new pair of shoes. Or whatever you need. Again, men in the room, close your ears. Just incentivize yourself. Drive yourself to do the things that you don't want to do now so that you can have the rewards that you want to have later. With these phone calls, I know a lot of people always ask, well, what do you say to them? It doesn't matter. There is no magic verbiage. There's no magic word. There's no magic anything. It's all about just you making personal contact with them. It really, truly comes down to that. There's nothing magic, but the personal part is the magic piece of it. It has to either be a personal phone call, a personal text to them, personal Facebook message, whatever you can do that make it the most personal. That's going to be the best part, because it's coming from you. You're sharing why you're doing Premier, especially as a new jeweler too. Why did you get started in this business? Tell them that, and will they help you out? Even if people don't want the free jewelry, if they know you and they know what you're working for, a lot of times they'll help you out because they like you. They don't have to like jewelry or like free stuff. Who doesn't? But I don't know. But they don't have to do that. They just have to know what you're doing this for. Don't overcomplicate it and overthink it, because then you're going to scare yourself away from even picking up the phone. It's just a matter of getting started. With the lifestyling too, I know sometimes it's scary, but how many times have you gotten like a great deal on an outfit or a great deal on a pair of shoes, and you tell all of your friends, you're like, oh my goodness, I just got the best deal, you have to go to Kohl's and get them because they're on sale right now. Anybody ever done that? Yep. It's easy, right? Do you feel like you're stalking them or making them feel uncomfortable by telling them that you just got a great deal? Probably not. So you can do that when you're trying to lifestyle intentionally. You can pick one of your Premier friends or Premier upline or downline or whatever, and you can go shopping with them. And what you do is you go shopping and you play a game of volleyball, okay? Not the typical volleyball game. But you'll both go into a store and you figure out which person is gonna be the jeweler right then. And you go into the first store and you say, when they compliment you, or if you're going shopping and no one compliments you, you can say, you know, we have a jewelry business and we're just looking for outfits that will complement some of these pieces. And most of the time, again, you'll start striking up that conversation, but the person that you're with, so if there's 2 of you, the one that's not the jeweler right then is going to talk up the jeweler. So if me and Valerie are shopping and Valerie's the jeweler and someone compliments either one of us, I can say, you know what, my friend Valerie has the best jewelry business, you have got to talk to her. She can hook you up and get you so much free jewelry. And then, so that takes the pressure off of Valerie from having to say anything. I'm talking up Valerie, and now I can get her the contact information. The next store we walk into, it flip-flops. Now she's gonna talk me up and say, you know, Laurie's got the best business, you have got to talk to her. Because it's a lot more comfortable talking up somebody else than it is for us to talk up our own selves. It's just how we are. So you can go to the store. We've actually done trainings in a mall before. We gave them this stuff and we had them go out and go shopping. And then they all came back and told us their response and what they got out of it. It's incredible what happens when you can do that with a buddy. And even if you don't have someone in Premier that you're shopping with, you can still coach either when you're going shopping with your mom or going shopping with another friend that's not in Premier. You can coach them what to say. Like, you know, when someone compliments us, this is what you're going to say. And you can tell them, have them work for you. Because once they see how easy that is, they're like, I could do this. I'm going to set up a jeweler. So play volleyball, okay? Do that until it's more comfortable for you to talk of yourself too. I'm losing my place in my notes because I'm just getting excited. All right. Obviously, so those are all outside the box ideas of ways to build your calendar. Obviously, the easiest way is at our shows. So when we're at our shows, pretend, and we've heard this before, Mary Crowley, who is Andy and Joan's very good friend, has always said to have people, when they walk into your show, pretend they have an MMFI sign on them. Make me feel important. We are there to give those girls a great night. The best way that you can do that is to have them leaving feeling 10 times better than they walked in that door. Make them feel important. Make them feel special because that's going to build that relationship. They were put at that show with you for a reason. Do not allow them to leave that house. If they've come in from a really rough day at work or they've been home with their crying kids all day, they are there for a fun girls' night out. Make them feel amazing and important because then they're going to want to spend more time with you. Whether that's booking a show or maybe being a prospect in this business. But make them feel important. It goes very, very far. You can compliment them on anything. Make sure it's genuine though. If they have a great smile, compliment them on that. If they've got a fantastic outfit, you can compliment them on that. Whatever it is, strike up conversation, but make sure what you're telling them and saying to them is genuine because they'll know if it's fake. And you will not lose anything quicker than if you are fake to somebody. So make sure that you're being genuine. At your shows, get them playing in the jewelry immediately because they're at a jewelry show. We want them to fall in love with it. The more they fall in love with the pieces, the more they're going to want, the more that they'll have the necessity of booking a show. Because a lot of times they're not going to be able to buy everything they wanted. A few different ways that you can do that. Some women will automatically just gravitate to the table. They'll start to put stuff on. There's other shows where you walk in and you're wondering, do they even know they're at a jewelry show? Like, they're not even anywhere near the jewelry and they're just talking and I'm like, do we know what we're here for? So a couple different ways for those groups of people. I always have like a set of dice. I've got like the foam dice from like the dollar store. And if I'm kind of getting the idea that they're forgetting what they're really here for, I'll have each of them roll just one of the dice. And whatever number comes up, they've got to put that number of pieces on. Then it just gets them again playing at the table. We've done other ways where they're called Mission Impossible cards. Have you guys heard of those? Basically what they are is on every single card, it gives them a place that they're going, whether it's to like a concert or they're going to, I have one that says that they're going to crash a White House dinner party. Or they're going to go on a date with their favorite movie star. It doesn't really matter. They just have all different places that they're going, and they pick a card, and they have to dress according to that card. So again, whatever you need to do to get them into the jewelry, that's going to start to create the need for them wanting to have a show right from the beginning. Then it comes time for your booking activity. Booking activities are key. Please do not ever, 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 ever skip it. But these are going to be the part of your show where you have to have the most conviction, the most excitement about what you are telling them. You can't kind of tiptoe around and be like, you know, if you want to have a show or if you want to get some free jewelry, you just let me know. They're not going to let you know. Maybe they will, probably not. But you have to be very, very excited and convicted about what you're giving. Premier has the best hostess plan in the entire industry. And every single one of my shows, I will tell them that we have the best hostess plan and we will give away the most free stuff than possible. And if you can tell me of another company that will give you more free stuff at a show, I'm going to personally give you $100 in free jewelry tonight. Nobody has ever taken me up on that because I make sure that they can't because there's nothing out there better. I wouldn't put $100 of free jewelry on the line. But that shows my conviction. If I'm willing to give $100 in free jewelry, then they know I'm serious and this is the best thing under the sun. They might not understand what 30% is. They might not understand all these gift cards and things like that. They might not get it, but I'm telling them, you have the opportunity. My average hostess gets like $200 to $300 in free jewelry, and we have the best thing out there. They're going to be excited because they know what $200 to $300 looks like, and they know I am excited and convicted in what my belief is in the business. So make sure you have that same kind of conviction however you say it. Now, if they don't book during the booking activity, that's okay. Because remember before, we've got some processors. There are some people, myself included, that would never, ever, ever book a show when someone came around and asked me to book one. I just can't make decisions that fast. So if you have people that go and they're saying no to you, don't get discouraged. It's totally fine. It's not the end right there. So just get through it and then say to them, you know, I'm going to ask you again at checkout because as women, we have the opportunity to change our minds, and we change our minds a lot. And one of the things in the beginning when I first started the business, because that was even uncomfortable for me to say that, I would tell them, if I don't ask you at checkout, I'm going to give you free shipping. How many times have you guys walked into a restaurant and saw on the table that if the hostess doesn't ask you for the special drink or the appetizer or whatever, then this such and such is free? The only reason why they do that is to keep the person on top of their game to actually ask you. So if you have to do that for yourself, like I had a little sign that I had at my checkout area for myself, not for them, but for myself to remember that I needed to ask every single person if they wanted free jewelry. Because if I didn't, I had to give them free shipping. I didn't want to give everyone free shipping. So I made sure I did it. This made my show bookings at my checkout go up because I wasn't ever asking, and when you don't ask, you don't receive. So make sure that if you aren't asking at checkout to everybody, start doing that because that will help increase your bookings. Because some people will never book a show during your booking activity. It's okay. But also when you're doing it at checkout and you're having that one-on-one conversation, it allows you the time to hear what their objections are. Objections are awesome. Objections are great. Do not take that as a no. Take that for whenever they give you some kind of objection, whether that's, oh, my house is too small, or all my friends are here tonight, whatever it is that you get, know all of the things to say coming back to an objection. There's great verbiage on Premier's website of what to say in response to that. But when you have those, think of it, instead of hearing that objection, think of them saying, yes, I would love to book a show, but I need your help. That's all it is. They want to book a show. If they didn't, they would just tell you no. But if they say, oh, I can't because of X, Y, Z, they're saying, yes, I want to book a show, but now help me figure out a way to do it. And then that's where we come in and we have to help them. But they're not going to have the opportunity to give us an objection unless we ask them to have a show. So please make sure you are holding yourself accountable and doing that at checkout. When they do have a show, when they have a date on the calendar, when they book a show, the important part is to get the date on the calendar. So when you make sure your calendar is open and ready and you know the dates that you can book, but always if they are like, oh, I don't know what dates I have available or I have to go home and look at my calendar, that's okay, that's normal, we all have to do that too. However, if they walk out of that house and they don't have a date on the calendar that night, it's going to be so hard to track them down and get that date. So work really, really hard at your shows to get the date. Some things that I'll say to them is, I totally understand if your calendar's at home, but in order for Susie Hostess to get credit tonight, I just have to have a date penciled in. Does a weekday or a weekend typically work better for you? Usually they know if a weekday or a weekend will be more open for them. And then you can narrow it down. Always narrow down by 2. So if I say weekday, weekend, and she tells me weekday, all right, end of the week, beginning of the week, like a Tuesday or a Friday, which one works better? You can help them narrow it down. Once you've gotten an idea, you can say, okay, well, I've got the 12th and the 21st available. Which one do you want? Okay? And actually, you'll do that in reverse. You'll say, I've got the 21st or the 12th. Which one do you want? You always want to say the one that you want to book second, because whatever they're hearing last is typically what they're going for. So always say whatever you want them to choose second. I do this with my kids all the time if they haven't caught on yet. So make them think that they're making the decision. Really not. You're making the decision, okay? But just help them narrow down by 2 because it makes it less overwhelming than just opening your calendar and saying, what day do you want? I don't know. But when you can help them narrow it down, it makes it easier for them. How are we doing on time? You sure? Okay. So once you have the date booked, then it starts with the hostess coaching. Hostess coaching is just a really fancy term for keeping in touch with your hostess. You have to partner up with them. They may never have done a show before. If they've done shows of other types of companies, they may never have had a premiere show. They are your business partner for the night. The best way that you can have a great show and for her to have a great show is to partner up. And you have to teach her what to do to have a successful show. There's a lot of different ways out there. All I can tell you is to have some kind of a system that keeps you on track for what you should be doing with the hostess. Because the worst thing that you can do is book a show and then not coach them, not contact them, because that show, it probably won't even happen, but if it happens, it's probably not going to be a great show because you haven't done your part of your job. So you have to keep in touch with them. A few different ways that it's just been easy for me is I have them all fill out this hostess information card. And at the show, so I'm booking the date, I'm having them fill out this top portion. It's just asking them obviously their name, their phone number, address, all of that stuff. But it also asks them their preferred method of contact. Would they want to be called, emailed, text messaged, or Facebook preferably? There's some people that never check their email. And I learned that the hard way. I would email them and week after week I was like, where are they? Like they're not contacting me back. They won't return a phone call because they text. I text them, 2 seconds later they'll text me back. So knowing how they want to be contacted, then again, I can meet them where they are at. And just because I like to email doesn't mean that they want to receive an email. If they want a phone call, I'll call them. But obviously, honestly, nowadays, I'm finding most people want my text messages. It's just, I don't know what it is, but people are texting nowadays. So you can ask them what they would prefer because then that's how they're going to contact everybody anyway. But that just gives me another little piece of radar that I can be really in tune with to make sure that I'm taking more time to share the business with them before their show. And then the bottom, this is really why I use it, the bottom is just for me. This keeps me on track with all of the tasks that I have to do leading up to the show and then after the show. So basically it just leads me from sending them a reminder card to getting their invite list, to giving them the hostess packet, and then a 4-week, 3-week, 2-week, 1-week contact. It reminds me to close the show. Hopefully I don't forget to close the show. But also track my profits and expenses from the show. Send them a thank you card, and then do my customer care calls 2 weeks and 2 months after. So this is just a reminder because if you've got a bunch of shows going on, it's really easy to forget what you've done with each hostess without dropping the ball. So those are on my website if you guys want to use anything like that. And then obviously if you already have something in place that works for you, continue doing that. That's just an extra idea.
What's your website?
Yep. My website is pdbydesign.com. And then you'll click on Jewelers, and then the password, all lowercase, is Rockstar. So everything that I've really talked about tonight and all of the resources that I use are on that website, so feel free to try them out. And my number and my email address are on there as well. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. When I first started the business, most of my invitations were done by mailing. I would say in the past 2 years, a lot of people don't want me to mail stuff out anymore. I don't know, again, I think it's just the change in the time. I still offer to mail things out. I still give them paper ones to hand out to people, but the majority of people that I run into now want me to text them. So Pic Collage has become my very best friend. It's actually decreased my cost of postage a lot in the past couple of years, which I'm excited about. But Pic Collage has been awesome. So I do all of my invites on Pic Collage, and the way to make it easiest for myself is that every single month I've got a different design. So for March, it had like some 4-leaf clovers, and so for every month I've kind of got like a little theme, but then all I have to do is go in and change the hostess's name, date, and time, and that's it. So it's really, really quick and easy to get these invites out, and then I usually blast it to them via text, and then you can also email it to them, so I give it to them both ways, then they can forward out to all of their friends. So use Pick Collage, use the different technologies that we have to your benefit, because there's really, really good ones out there. The other thing too with hostess coaching is really coach them on how to get those gift cards. That's going to secure not only their show for being good, it's also going to secure the date for you. So the first gift card that they get a $50 gift card if they keep the date and if they have $100 in orders before their show starts. A great idea that we just got was Penny Lacey, I think, right? Penny Lacey had a phenomenal idea, so I stole it. And you guys can steal it now too. But she gives them a $25 gift card clipped to 5 order forms. And she says when you collect 5 orders, you're going to get this $25 gift card. It's going to turn into a $50 gift card when you hold the original date. So what you're doing is you're having them work to get 5 orders. You're not telling them $100. You're just telling them 5 orders. Get these 5 order forms filled out. Really, if they get 5 order forms, it's probably a lot more than $100. What that does is that secured your date, because if they've got pre-orders, they're not canceling. They're going to have some kind of a show. And let's say they don't have the original date, so you're going to have to pay the $25 for that gift card. It's only $12.50. But now that date is secure, because more likely than not, if they had to move the date, they probably would have just canceled if they didn't have those orders. So that is a phenomenal way of just incentivizing them to get those orders up front to help secure your date, but also help them get the best show possible by getting those outside sales. So I love, love, love that, and Penny Lacey's phenomenal, and she always has great ideas. The most important thing, though, at your shows is please make sure that you are building those personal relationships with people. Make them feel important. Have fun, because when you're having fun, they're going to have fun. Even if, again, if it's not in your personality style to be very outgoing and fun, figure out the people that are fun and steal what they do. I can't tell you the number of people I've watched their show, and I literally had to write down jokes to say, and I say the same ones in every single one of my shows, and people still laugh. They're not my jokes because I can't come up with them. So you can steal from other people and make yourself fun at your shows in your personality style. You don't have to be someone that you're not, but you do have to have people have fun. Because when they have fun, they're going to invite you over to do that with their friends. That's what they're doing. When they're booking a show, they're saying, I like you so much that I want you to come do this with my friends. I want to introduce you to my friends. So have them have fun. Everybody can be successful in this business. There's not a personality style or any kind of fear that could keep anyone from being successful in this business. The one thing that will hold you back is what happens in here. That is the only thing that will keep you from being successful, is what you tell yourself. Your thoughts and what you talk to yourself about is going to be the one factor of whether you're successful in Premier or not. It's not going to be due to how many people you know, what you look like, what you dress like, who your upline is, who your downline is. None of that will matter if you tell yourself that you can't be successful in this business. If you tell yourself you can't, you can't. If you tell yourself you can, though, there's nothing that will hold you back from being successful. So please make sure that you are very good at taking your thoughts captive. Because I'm going to tell you, when the enemy knows what you are distracted by or what gets you off course, he is going to use that over and over and over again until he's beat you down until you quit. Because that's what he wants. There is a hole in the ground. He doesn't like me talking about this. He's going to make me trip and fall. I'm going to hold on. So know what the enemy is going to use to distract you. I'm going to go through a few because we all fall into different categories in terms of what it takes to distract us. The first one that some people fall under are expectations. You might have false expectations for yourself. If you have a team, sometimes we've got false expectations for our team. Any kind of false expectations, though, if they're not meeting that or if you're not meeting it, he's going to win. So anytime you're feeling like, oh, I should be doing this, or I'm disappointed that they aren't doing something, know that that's the enemy creating that in your head, and you can say, I'm not going to allow that to happen. I have the right expectations, and I can work towards my goals, so don't allow that to be what distracts you. The second one's comparison. And we talked about that in the beginning, but you cannot compare your success or your struggles to anybody else. God will always provide what we need, and you don't know what he's providing for somebody else. So if somebody else is doing awesome, if somebody else just promoted, he's providing that for her for a reason. He's still providing for you, but in a different way. So you cannot compare your journey with anybody else's. The third one's procrastination. Yep. Do I have to say anything more? A lot of times, especially those fears of like the phone, you're like, oh, I'll pick up the phone and I'll call him a little bit later. Or I'll call him a little bit later. How many times have you had someone's name just pop in your head for no reason whatsoever, completely out of the blue? It doesn't happen for no reason, obviously, and it's not out of the blue. But when someone's name is just put on your heart, or when you think about someone and you're like, I really should call that person, don't delay. Do not procrastinate on that, because there's a divine appointment somewhere. But you have to also do what you're supposed to be doing, because other people's blessings are going to be tied to your obedience. So if you don't do that, the person that you should be calling right then and there, they might have a blessing that's tied to you, and if you don't do what you're going to do, they might not get their blessing out of it. The fourth one is busyness. We talked about this a little bit too. Don't allow yourself to get too busy doing the good things that you don't have any time to do the great things. Make sure that you keep time in your calendar where there's blank space that allows you the opportunity to have those divine appointments and to have those great things put in. Remember what your priorities are and make sure those things are reflected in your calendar. The fifth one is fatigue. When we're tired and we're busy and we're overwhelmed and stressed out, we are no good. We're no good to ourselves, we're no good to our family, we're no good to our team, our customers, anybody. So make sure you take care of yourself. Give yourself the rest that you need, but again, you have to kind of plan for those times. You have to plan to rest. As sad as that sounds, but you have to schedule those in sometimes. If you are one of those people that need a nap, schedule in a nap and don't feel guilty about it, because if that's what you need in order to be good, you do that for yourself, but plan it in so it doesn't overtake and make yourself feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You should if that's what you need, but don't allow fatigue to be the reason that you're too tired to see clearly or make solid decisions. The sixth one is doubt. How many of us have ever doubted ourselves? A lot of us, especially if you're a leader or just starting out or anything like that, we will very regularly doubt our abilities. And you can't do that, because anytime you're doubting yourself, that's just the enemy trying to get you off course with what you're doing. You don't have to see yourself as a fantastic jeweler. You don't have to see yourself as the most amazing leader. God's put you in that position for a reason. You just have to trust him enough to get through it. Don't doubt yourself on what your abilities are, though. If you have a purpose, if you have a goal, know that you can do this because you're telling yourself that you can. It's all up here. The seventh one is discouragement. Don't get discouraged, and we've kind of beat this one dead tonight, but don't get discouraged by what's not happening in your business. Focus on what is happening in your business, because that's what you can control. You will get to where you need to be, but you can't give up. So don't get discouraged at any point in your road. And if you do, know that you can get over it. If you're discouraged for a point in time, it's okay, it's going to happen, but don't allow yourself to stay there, because that's a really, really scary place to be. And the last one is worry. When we worry, what we're doing is not trusting God. Matthew 28:20 says, I am always with you, says the Lord. If he is always with us, there's no need to worry. When you're worrying, you're trying to control everything. You can't control it. It's really just, and that kind of goes back to the fatigue and you're making yourself sick over the worry. Give it up. You can't do it. So just give up the worry to him. Let him take that on, because he can handle it a lot better than we can. And let him figure that out. You just trust him. Know that you do the things that you can control, and that he will figure out the rest of it. So it's really important to listen to the right voice. So whenever you hear things like of worry, or of condemning, of discouragement, of confusion, of feeling rushed and overwhelmed, all of those feelings are from the enemy. Anytime you feel a calming over yourself, or one of comfort, or encouragement, or something that's leading you to do something, or reassuring, that's God talking to you. You need to listen to the right voice. The right voice will always lead you to the positive things, and you have to then back it up with what you're telling yourself. That's going to be the key between what's in here and what's in here, is what you're going to do in this business. So I hope tonight you guys got a couple little nuggets of things to work on, but know that you guys can all do this business. You wouldn't be in this room or in Premier if you couldn't. Someone believed in you, we believe in you, and I just hope that you guys have an awesome, awesome 2016.
Was that great or what? Wasn't that awesome? Imagine having to train that entire time. She's going to be tired tonight. First of all, there's a couple things I want to say tonight. One is how much we just love each and every one of you that are here tonight. We feel so honored to be a part of a wonderful group of people in Indiana who serve the Lord. And I don't know, all of you new girls, I don't know if you didn't notice that kind of camaraderie that takes place amongst all of the people that are gathered here. There is not a competition. Everyone is excited for one another. Everybody cheers their sidelines on. They cheer the other Premier families on. We are all sisters and brothers in Christ. And where that happens, good things happen. And love overrules all things. It's all for His good. So we just want you to know that. So you know that you're a part of something so special that you will not find anywhere else at all. You have made a really good decision to become a part of the Premier family, and we are so excited for you. Your life will be enriched beyond any kind of way we can begin to even tell you. So we're thrilled about that. This new friend of ours that has come into our life has blessed us, and I know she's blessed all of you this evening. We want to thank each and every one of you for making tonight a priority and coming. Training can never be replaced in any way, shape, or form. There's usually one thing that the Lord is going to whisper to you that you're going to hear that night, and you never know what it might be. And to keep a teachable spirit is a lot of the reason that you can be successful in Premier Designs. My jewelry mom, Jerry Ross, told me, and I'd only been in the business for 6 weeks, that I needed to get to Texas for a national rally, and I thought, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, let alone I was going to get an airplane ticket. So I drove down there, and my daughter went with me, and we went down there, and it changed my life. And I wouldn't even be here today if I hadn't made that trip. So thank goodness for that. So take that as words of advice and encouragement to all of you. And next, I want to say to my real special friend, Kathy Anderson, thank you for helping us get this facility tonight. Let's give her a hand. And her awesome dad for being our AV man. It's so right at home over there, isn't he? I mean, we couldn't do it without that. That is for sure. What a blessing is that. And we want to thank Aisha, Dudley, and Pam Rocky for being our beautiful girls and greeters with the most. And we just are just appreciating each and every one of you for the special people that you are. And last but not least, we would like to call Laurie up, and let's give her a standing ovation for this evening.
I just appreciate you guys for having me tonight. I've loved being here. I've loved getting to know some of you, and I hope I can chat with you guys after. But I just thank you and know that you are part of something just absolutely incredible. And your upline and your team is just amazing. So
That's awesome. Thank you so much. All right.